The Republicans in this committee and the others in the House and Senate don't care about democracy. They don't care about fair maps. All they care about are three simple things: re-election, power, and dollar signs. This redistricting stunt is a clear power grab by Republicans in the General Assembly. So I urge you now, watch your step. Be very careful in what you choose to do, because young people like me are watching, and young people like me are fed up.
Watch your step. Well, right now, I hope that parents of teenagers or teenagers are watching, because that right there was 17-year-old Eric Willoughby. He's not old enough to cast a ballot, but he had that warning for elected officials in his state. Young people are watching, and not just in North Carolina, where the Republican-controlled legislature is still in the process of drawing new congressional maps. Young activists often grow up to be young leaders. You might remember this viral moment from 2011 when then 19-year-old Zach Walz stood up to defend families like his from legislation that was targeting them.
I'm not really so different from any of your children. My family really isn't so different from yours. After all, your family doesn't derive its sense of worth from being told by the state, you're married, congratulations. Over the next 2 hours, I'm sure we're going to hear plenty of testimony about how damaging having gay parents is on kids. But in my 19 years, not once have I ever been confronted by an individual who realized independently that I was raised by a gay couple. And you know why? Because the sexual orientation of my parents has had zero effect on the content of my character. Thank you very much.
That legislation did pass in the Iowa House, but it was blocked in the Senate, and same-sex marriage stayed legal in the state. As for Zach Walz, he went on to serve in the Iowa State Senate. Both of these remarkable young men join us now. Eric, you amaze me. You're a senior in high school. What made you decide to address the General Assembly? I mean, it's fall. This is time for Friday Night Lights and pep rallies.
That's right. And, you know, that's exactly what I told the General Assembly was I should be with my friends and family on a Wednesday. I shouldn't have to be here and defend my generation's right to a ballot and our right to fair representation. Now, to answer your question, why was I there? I was there to prove that young people like me, we are listening. I mean, we don't always hear it all the time, but we are listening, and we are angry, and we are fed up.
Zach, talk to us how you went from being just a young man, but who chose to stand up publicly to defend your family, who was basically under attack, to then moving to full activism and then elected office, where you are right now.
Well, Stephanie, I really appreciate the opportunity to be with you. And Eric, congratulations and thank you for standing up and delivering such an impassioned speech. You know, the thing that I would say to you is that you have this incredible opportunity to take this moment and turn it into something so much bigger. And that's what those of us who have that opportunity, Stephanie, I would say, have the responsibility to do. You know, my generation, the generation of people like Eric, we're incredibly frustrated. And it's exciting to see young activists take the lead on issues like partisan gerrymandering, on climate change, on gun safety, on fighting for LGBTQ people who are increasingly being targeted. And I think what Eric's speech shows is that defending democracy is not some insider in the weeds issue. It's easy to say that voters don't really care about democracy issues, but I think Eric's speech shows that that really connects with a lot of people, including young people.
But a lot of young people, a lot of people don't think about partisan gerrymandering until it's too late. Eric, I said it, you're only 17 years old. Are you an outlier among your friends and classmates, or are they engaged too?
You know, when it comes to issues like redistricting, I mean, I'm very aware it is a very non-sexy issue. It is, I mean, it's a very nerdy thing to be into, which I just happen to be, and that's okay. But young people are really deeply interested in issues like reproductive rights, voting rights, things like that, that they care about because they know it affects their day-to-day. And when you're able to relate those issues to something like redistricting that affects all of those issues, it has an impact.
Zach, people are constantly saying how broken and divided the country is. Look at Congress right now. It's chaos. It's not functioning. But when you think about your own path over the last 10 years, when you look at Eric, a 17-year-old speaking up for what he believes in, how energized and inspired do you feel about the power of our country, about the power of democracy?
Yeah, Stephanie, I think it makes me really excited. And I think if I had to think of a through line from Eric's speech and mine, it's about, the importance of speaking truth to power and how that resonates with people who are watching and listening. I think that all across the country, there's this understanding that we're going through something that's really challenging for our country right now, whether it's the rise of authoritarianism within the Republican Party, attempts by that party to, like they are in North Carolina, usurp democracy by rigging elections. We know that there are incredible challenges in front of us, and it brings me a lot of excitement and inspiration to see people like Eric in North Carolina stepping up. Here in Iowa, we saw teenage and high school students organize walkouts against bans on LGBT books here in our state. And so it's been really inspiring for me to see other young people step up. And I would still consider myself a young person, certainly by political standards. And it's really important for our generation to get involved, whether it's joining a local organization, whether it's running for office with the good folks that run for something, or just finding a candidate who you really believe in and going to work for them. We can all make a difference if we do our part. That's what we got to do.
Your remarks obviously went viral. That's how we found you. They're inspirational. But what happened after you spoke? What's going on down there?
A lot of great people reached out to me, and a lot of great people were able to elevate the platform to spread this issue even more. And I'm very grateful for those opportunities, because this can't be just 15 seconds of fame type thing. This has to be something that keeps on going.
So what are you doing next?
Well, I think my fellow young people and I are going to band together to deliver Republicans a message in 2024. And that message is that, hey, my generation, Generation Z, is going to be the generation that writes the history books. And if you decide here right now today to push us to the margins of our political systems and to the sidelines of our government, we're going to be the ones to write you into the margins of history. If you decide now that we are not mature enough, in quotes, to lead, we will be the ones to decide that we're not worthy enough to represent our great country.
Damn, Eric, you're not even going to have to write a college application. They're just going to be calling you up and sending a car for you, buddy. Zach, what message do you have for young people today?
I think the most important thing is not to lose hope. They want you to feel worn down. They want you to feel dispirited. They want you to feel like there's nothing that you can do. But just look at Eric. Look at the speech that he gave. Look at the difference that he's making in North Carolina. Look at the inspiration that he's giving to so many people. One voice can change a conversation. And that's exactly what Eric's doing in North Carolina. And that's what any young person can do if they choose to step up and make their voice heard.
All right. Eric Willoughby, Zach Wahls, thank you for all that you do. It was an honor to meet you both.